happen to ask if it's live, I tell them it's live. I mean, you were coming to my show. I ask a bunch of times, do you have any questions? Look at my YouTube channel. And
The first thing I usually say too, by the way, is like, "Hey, we're not recording right now," and so
oh,
that makes a huge difference.
oh,
So like when they first come into the call, like when you're first just kind of doing that pre-show chat, it just makes a huge difference. Like they can take a second to breathe, and then when you start recording, then they can get kind of in that mindset.
oh, that's a good one. But we're not recording. That's because then they get already like things going, right? They just
Hmm.
act more natural. That's a good one. Something that I noticed, I listen a lot to Joe Rogan, right? That's a huge inspiration of mine. Sometimes I think he changed like the way he started his podcast a couple of times, but if
He's done
not,
it for so long, yeah.
he's doing it for so long. But I think like the way he's doing right now is just kind of like you said. He has Jamie, right? He has like his assistant, which makes a huge difference. He doesn't need
Yeah.
to do anything. He's just him. Like he's just himself, and he's having a great time. And I think he does exactly what you. That's assumption that I have. He
Mhm.
does exactly what you suggest. He just say we're not recording, and then they start chatting, and at some point Jamie just like look.
Yeah, it just like starts to record. That's a lot more natural too. And I will say, Joe Rogan breaks a lot of podcasting quote unquote rules, if
Really?
you will. And it's not necessarily. I mean, first off, he goes for as long as possible, and so like his episodes go like 3 or 4 hours sometimes. And that's kind of like one of the rules that people break. Like you don't generally go past like 90 minutes or even an hour. Even an hour is kind of pushing it. And most of my episodes are 60 to 90 minutes. And so it's one of those things where it's like I definitely agree with him when it comes to go for as long as the show feels good. Like if we keep talking and we enjoy it, let's keep going. There's no point in ending it sooner. I don't think that keeping a consistent length is that important. What matters is making good content. And if you make good content that's 40 minutes long and the next episode's 120 minutes long, that's okay.
And he's so good at it. It's like he just has like this way of getting to know people. It's amazing. Like
Yeah.
it's inspiring, and it's not for. It doesn't feel forced, right? It's really cool. At the beginning, I was like, "I'm Joe Rogan," like episode number 5. Yeah, I was like trying to push like 2 hours, 3 hours, but at some point I was like, I don't know what to say anymore.
Yeah.
And they just started like coming up with random subjects with the guests. It felt so weird. But bro, I gotta be honest. Some people also make it so hard. Like I won't mention names, but some of like one of the guests like just hi, my name is. I was like, oh, that's very interesting. What do you do for a living? He's like, and then he would like flip through his book, and then like he was just reading his script. And then I think after 30 minutes or 40 minutes, like there was no more script on his end, and I would just continue the conversation, try because I was genuinely interested in knowing the person, and he would just answer yes, no, because he didn't know what to say anymore. Like,
It is, yeah. Sometimes I always try to make sure my guests don't prepare answers. I always send the link to the meeting and the questions about a day before, maybe half a day before, depending on their time zone and stuff like that. And that way they can at least read the questions. But I try to mention like don't prepare answers. This is just for like because the thing is some people have NDA, so they can't talk about certain things. Or maybe they have a pretty bad experience with something and there's a topic that's taboo for them to talk about. And sometimes that's actually some of the most fun things to talk about and it gets them open up to it. But you have to build that rapport first before you can get into something deep that they might be hesitant about. And then the other thing is like as a host, you got to think about the perspective. And so even just like the camera, like before the call, I was adjusting my desk to make sure the framing of me was good for your show. I saw one podcast recently where the guest camera was cut off right here in the middle of the face
oh
when they
no,
when they were switching back and forth. And
oh
I was like, oh,
no,
and that's all just positioning. Where like if the host just told the person to move over a little bit, then it would have been fine for the
yeah, yeah,
camera.
yeah, yeah. You get good over time. So Dustin, what's your podcast name? Oh, it's Polymath PolyCast.
Yeah, the Polymath PolyCast. It's about people who are multidisciplinary. I have some solo episodes that talk about variety of different topics. That's kind of the whole idea of the poly. Many topics, many types of guests, and then many different series that I do on there as well. And then I have the PolyTools Creator Spotlight, where I interview modern content creators about their journeys. And then I have this new show that I've done with a buddy of mine called The Brand Doctors, and we talk about branding and content creation.
Whoa, that's mind blowing. Dude, you have 3 podcasts. Like I have one I can barely manage it. There's so much work. How do you do it?
Well,